Remember that time you got hit by a truck and woke up in a magical world? No? Me neither. But in the world of anime, this bizarre scenario has become a common trope, a gateway to fantastical adventures that captivate audiences worldwide. But for some reason, that's the fantasy that's taken the anime world by storm. The genre, known as Isekai, which translates to different world, has become a cultural phenomenon, drawing in fans with its promise of escapism and adventure. Isekai, meaning different world, has exploded in popularity, offering viewers an escape from the mundane. These shows transport us to realms filled with magic, monsters, and endless possibilities, where the ordinary rules of our world no longer apply. Shows like Sword Art Online and That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime capitalized on our desire for adventure, transporting us to realms of magic, monsters, and endless possibilities. These series have set the standard for the genre, blending action, fantasy, and a touch of romance to create compelling narratives that keep viewers hooked. These shows tapped into our inner desires for something more. They offer a sense of hope and wonder, allowing us to imagine ourselves as the heroes of our own stories, discovering new powers and overcoming incredible odds. We all crave a little excitement, a break from the ordinary. In our daily lives, we often find ourselves stuck in routines, yearning for something extraordinary to shake things up. Isekai anime offered that escape, and audiences ate it up. The genre provided a much-needed respite from reality, allowing viewers to immerse themselves in fantastical worlds where anything is possible. Suddenly, everyone wanted to be the chosen one, whisked away to a world where they could be special. The allure of becoming a hero, facing epic battles, and embarking on grand adventures was simply irresistible. But like that last slice of pizza you probably shouldn't have eaten, too much of a good thing can leave you feeling a little sick. The genre's rapid rise in popularity has led to an oversaturation of Isekai series, each trying to outdo the last with more outlandish premises and increasingly convoluted plots. And trust me, the Isekai genre is starting to give everyone a bit of indigestion. The once novel concept of being transported to another world is becoming repetitive, with many series relying on the same tired tropes and cliches. The formula, while initially exciting, is starting to wear thin. Viewers are beginning to notice the lack of originality, and the genre's charm is fading as it becomes increasingly predictable. The once refreshing concept is now facing a new challenge: its own popularity. As more and more Isekai series flood the market, the genre must evolve to stay relevant. Creators need to find new ways to innovate and keep audiences engaged, or risk losing the very fans that made Isekai a sensation in the first place. The future of Isekai anime depends on its ability to reinvent itself. By exploring new themes, breaking away from established conventions, and pushing the boundaries of storytelling, the genre can continue to thrive and captivate audiences for years to come. So, while the Isekai genre may be facing some growing pains, its potential for creativity and innovation remains limitless. As long as there are stories to be told and worlds to be explored, Isekai anime will continue to enchant and inspire viewers around the globe. The Isekai floodgates have opened, and it seems like every other anime wants to ride the trend wave. Each season, we're bombarded with the same recycled premise. Ordinary person dies, gets reincarnated into a fantasy world, rinse and repeat. We've got salarymen reborn as vending machines, teenage shut-ins becoming slime overlords, and even hamsters getting isekai'd for crying out loud. This oversaturation has diluted the genre, making it feel more like a conveyor belt of mediocrity than a breeding ground for creativity. The sense of wonder and originality that once defined Isekai is fading. Viewers are left wading through a sea of shows that feel eerily similar, struggling to find something truly unique. The problem isn't just the sheer quantity, but the lack of quality. Many studios, eager to cash in on the trend, are churning out Isekai anime with minimal effort. This results in generic plots, bland characters, and uninspired world building. One of the biggest culprits in the Isekai formula is the overpowered protagonist. These heroes, often gifted with incredible abilities or knowledge from their past lives, breeze through challenges with little to no effort. They wield their powers with such ease that it almost feels like they're playing a game on the easiest difficulty setting. While it's fun to see characters dominate initially, it quickly becomes repetitive and predictable. The thrill of watching them overcome obstacles diminishes when every battle ends in a foregone conclusion. Take The Misfit of Demon King Academy, for example. This series showcases a protagonist who is the epitome of overpowered. The protagonist, Anos, is so overwhelmingly powerful that he defeats his enemies with a flick of his wrist. His immense strength leaves little room for suspense or excitement. There's no sense of danger, no real stakes, because we know he's going to win every single time. The predictability of his victories strips away the tension that makes a story gripping. It's like watching a boxing match where one fighter is invincible. What's the point of watching if you already know the outcome? The excitement of competition is lost when the result is a foregone conclusion. This lack of challenge creates a disconnect between the audience and the protagonist. We find it hard to invest in their journey when it feels like they're on a walk in the park. We can't relate to their struggles because there are none. The essence of storytelling lies in the protagonist's journey, their trials and tribulations. The narrative loses its tension, its ability to surprise and engage the viewer. When every conflict is resolved with minimal effort, the story becomes monotonous. Without obstacles to overcome, there's no character growth, no sense of accomplishment. The protagonist remains stagnant, never evolving or learning from their experiences. The protagonist becomes a static, one-dimensional figure, defined solely by their overwhelming power. They lack the depth and complexity that make characters memorable and relatable. In contrast, a well-crafted story presents its heroes with genuine challenges. These obstacles force them to grow, adapt, and evolve, making their victories all the more satisfying. When protagonists face failure and learn from it, they become more relatable and inspiring. Their journey mirrors our own struggles and triumphs, creating a deeper connection with the audience. A balanced protagonist with both strengths and weaknesses offers a richer narrative experience. Their story is filled with ups and downs, making their ultimate success feel earned and meaningful. When a protagonist overcomes a major obstacle, the sense of accomplishment is palpable. The audience feels the weight of their journey and celebrates their hard-fought victory. A compelling backstory adds layers to a character, making them more than just their powers. It provides context for their actions and motivations, enriching the overall narrative. Meaningful relationships with other characters also enhance the story. These bonds add emotional depth and stakes, making the protagonist's journey more engaging and heartfelt. When protagonists face moral dilemmas and make tough choices, it adds complexity to their character. These moments of introspection and decision-making resonate with the audience, making the story more compelling. Ultimately, personal growth is what makes a protagonist truly memorable. Watching them evolve over time, learning from their experiences and becoming better versions of themselves is what keeps us invested in their story. A satisfying character arc, where the protagonist completes their journey with newfound wisdom and strength, leaves a lasting impact. It's this journey, filled with challenges and growth, that makes a narrative truly captivating. Section 4. Facade of Fantasy, the shallow world building in Isekai. Another major issue plaguing the genre is the lack of depth in world building. While the initial allure of Isekai often lies in its promise of transporting viewers to fantastical realms, the execution frequently falls short. Many Isekai anime present us with visually stunning fantasy worlds, but fail to flesh out the details that make them believable and immersive. These worlds are often rich in visual appeal, with vibrant landscapes and intricate designs that captivate the eye. However, we're introduced to generic medieval settings with magic systems that are poorly explained and often inconsistent. The magic, which should be a cornerstone of the fantasy experience, is frequently reduced to a plot device with no real rules or limitations. It's like walking into a movie set. Everything looks pretty on the surface, but scratch a little deeper, and you realize it's all just a facade. The lack of depth becomes apparent when you try to understand how these worlds function beyond their superficial beauty. The societies lack cultural nuances, the economies are poorly defined, and the political landscapes are simplistic and predictable. There's often no sense of history or culture that gives the world a lived-in feel. These worlds feel less like living, breathing environments, and more like generic backdrops for the overpowered protagonist to show off their skills. The protagonist's journey becomes a series of predictable events, rather than an exploration of a complex world. This lack of world building not only hinders immersion, but also limits the potential for compelling storytelling. When the world itself lacks depth, the narrative struggles to find a solid foundation. Without a well-defined world, it's difficult to create meaningful conflicts, explore complex themes, or develop believable character motivations. The characters often feel like they're floating in a void, with no real stakes or consequences to their actions. The story becomes confined to the surface level, unable to delve into the rich tapestry of a well-crafted fantasy setting. This superficial approach results in narratives that are forgettable and lack the emotional resonance that comes from a well-developed world. In contrast, the most memorable fantasy worlds are those that feel alive, with their own histories, cultures, and intricacies. These worlds invite viewers to lose themselves in the details, to wonder about the lives of the people who inhabit them, and to feel the weight of the protagonist's journey. When an isekai anime takes the time to build its world with care, it elevates the entire narrative. The conflicts become more engaging, the themes more profound, and the characters' motivations more believable. The world itself becomes a character, adding layers of depth to the story. A well-crafted world offers endless possibilities for storytelling. It allows for the exploration of complex themes, such as the nature of power, the impact of history, and the intricacies of human relationships. It provides a stage where characters can grow and evolve in meaningful ways. Ultimately, the depth of world-building in isekai can make or break the experience. When done right, it transforms a simple escapist fantasy into a rich, immersive adventure that stays with the viewer long after the final episode. Section 5. Copy-pasted characters, the isekai archetype problem. Open any isekai anime and I can guarantee you'll find at least 3 of the following. A dense but well-meaning protagonist, a busty elf with a healing spell, a tsundere demon girl, and a wise old sage who conveniently explains the plot. Originality in character design seems to have gotten lost on the way to the fantasy world. These cookie-cutter characters are often defined by their tropes rather than their personalities. They lack depth, complexity, and any real agency within the story. They're simply there to fulfill their designated roles: the love interest, the comic relief, the exposition delivery system. This reliance on tired archetypes prevents the development of compelling relationships and meaningful character arcs. We're left with a cast of predictable, one-dimensional figures that we've seen countless times before. The result is a story that feels stale and uninspired, lacking the emotional depth and character-driven narratives that make for